low level of individuals seeing the doctors versus the high levels of the emergency room. The reason why they don't go into the emergency room because they don't have the access or the knowledge.
Right. They're choosing, you know, to go to an emergency room instead of choosing to see a doctor.
Except, you know what, there are a lot of plans that have a very, very high penalty that if you go to ER and you're not admitted, you're paying like $300 or $400.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, there's certain reasons that you do want to go to an emergency room.
There
you
are,
wouldn't
but
be
you're
admitted.
admitted.
So broken bones.
Well, none of them go to urgent care on the broken bones.
But it's, you know, depending on how bad it is, you might need to see an orthopedic.
Right.
If you need stitches, you know, depending on where the stitches are.
Right.
You know, and so I wouldn't penalize somebody. If it's not a true emergency, then I could absolutely see where you might want to have some kind of incentive.
You know?
But it's hard to see a doctor if you're working full-time, like, I don't know.
Well, if you have an emergency situation, then you need to take off work. Or, I mean, if you have, a true emergency is something that you need urgent, immediate.
But doctors get evening hours, they should have evening hours.
It's an emergency, it's an emergency.
That's why they have so many of these immediate cares now.
Yeah.
People really don't
Like I just
know
called
that
yesterday and
that's...
it's like, I'll see you in March. It's like, really?
I've had that happen too, yeah.
It's like, they're just
6 months later.
busy.
Gotta go to a
There's so
different
much,
doctor.
there's almost
I
so many time
know,
slots.
I've never had a problem. I've called my doctor and said, I have this problem and I'm not gonna say what it is.
But like, like for a wellness thing, like you just want to say, I need like,
right away.
just to go, just say, I haven't been a doctor, so let me just go. Just like, you know, you don't have a problem. They're like, well, other people who do have problems go in first, so unless you really beg and plead, you don't get to see somebody.
If you're just going in for an annual physical, sometimes it is like a wait for a month or two, but if you have an urgent need to see someone.
No, that's true. But I'm saying that's why maybe some of us don't do
the
wellness screenings because.
But it shouldn't take 6 months to get into a doctor.
But I've heard the same.
But it is. Well, I mean, case n equals 1, but.
Okay.
No, I've heard the same story from my coworkers.
Yeah.
Same thing, 6 months.
And it's very obvious here, the teachers or staff that don't go to the screening are much healthier than those that do. They have the costs.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think we're beating the drum and wringing hands over a non-problem.
Well, I think it's still good to have, you know, what you brought up, people are using the emergency room instead of seeing a regular doctor. It is more beneficial for health on a long-term basis to have an established relationship with a caregiver that knows you and can monitor if your blood pressure is changing, if your cholesterol is changing, they know family history. You will be better served to be with a practitioner that has more history on you. So what's happening is people are using the emergency room instead of having those relationships.
Right.
People are not getting early diagnosis potentially. So if they're going to get screenings, then that just helps everybody. The early detection is always better.
Can you say that for a fact, based on this data right here, that our members are using emergency rooms more?
No, I have a different report that I ran.
Okay.
And I had our underwriter run it so I could see what the emergency room use was.
Yes.
And so I think I'd have to talk to, this is put together, we have an analytics company, it's an actuarial firm. So I don't know what codes they're using because there's various codes. So to your point about using urgent care or emergency room, they're not using all of that data in this line item because when I pull a report from Blue Cross for your experience for 2011 and 2012, I see much higher usage of